big sister.
Hi, I'm Evelyn, and I'm really proud to introduce my kind big sister, Una. There was a time when I hated myself. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in the quiet way that happens when you start believing something about you must be wrong. Not because I wanted attention, not because I was weak, but because the world kept teaching me, again and again, without ever saying it directly, that I was something to question. Something people didn't know how to place. I hated being visible, not seen, studied, like I could never just exist without being looked at twice, without feeling like I had to explain myself just to deserve space in a room I was already standing in. And the worst part was how quickly I started to accept it. Like maybe that discomfort people had around me meant I was the problem. So I began shrinking before I even realized I was doing it. Chasing perfection because I thought perfection would make me safe. Perfect grades, perfect behavior, perfect silence. Becoming hyper aware of everything. How I spoke, how I stood, how much space I took up, how I breathed in rooms before I spoke at all. Learning how to disappear so well that no one had to ask me to. But perfection wasn't confidence. It was fear, learning how to behave like it belonged there. And no matter how well I performed it, it never protected me. It only made me easier to overlook. There were moments that broke through anyway. Small, sharp ones that stay with you. Like when I'm with my mom, people stare. But with my dad, they don't. Nothing is said out loud. That's what makes it worse. It's in the pause, the stare, the way I'm decided before I've even had a chance to be anything. And in those moments, I stop feeling like a kid and start feeling like a question that no one wants to ask out loud. So I tried harder, kinder, quieter, better, as if becoming impossible to criticize would finally make me safe to exist without explanation. As if shrinking myself enough times would eventually make me unnoticeable in the way I thought I needed to be. But racism doesn't disappear when you do everything right. It just teaches you how to carry it in silence until you start thinking the silence is your fault. Tennis was supposed to be different. It was the one place that felt like mine. Something I'd loved since I was 3. When my mom put a racket in my hands and told me to fight for what I love. For a while, it felt like I could finally just exist without being interpreted, without being questioned before I even spoke. Like I could just be Una, not explained, not doubted, just me. Until one day I couldn't. An older man started recording us, like we were something suspicious, just by being there together, accusing my mom of coaching me, and when she told him I was her daughter, he didn't believe her. He looked at us like we were trying to take up space we hadn't earned, like we were lying about something as simple as belonging. He called her a liar, pointed the camera at me like I was proof of something wrong. And in that moment, everything in me stopped. I froze, not because I had done something wrong, but because I was being treated like I had. My chest tightened so hard it felt like I couldn't pull air all the way in. My face burned like I had been exposed in front of everyone for something I didn't even understand. I wanted to disappear, not in a metaphor, but completely. Like if I could just step out of myself, I wouldn't have to feel what it meant to be looked at like that. Like I wouldn't have to exist inside that version of myself where I didn't belong. And even after he left, it stayed. It didn't end when the moment ended. It replayed. It looped. It turned into something I carried alone. Something I started to turn inward, asking myself what I could have done differently. What I was that made it so easy for him to doubt me. Slowly, quietly, I started to blame myself. Because that's how it begins. You don't notice the shift until you're already living inside it. And that's how I started hating myself. I learned to say I'm fine, even when it's the least true thing I could say. Because it was easier than explaining the weight I carried. Easier than letting anyone see how much it hurt. I got so good at holding everything in that no one saw the tears I swallowed. The way my chest ached like something inside me was constantly breaking in small, unnoticeable ways. The way I was slowly coming apart underneath the smile I had practiced so well it fooled everyone, even me. And the hardest part is, none of it ever really goes away. It just builds, quietly, in places no one can see, until it feels like you're holding yourself together with nothing but habits you created just to survive. Like if you stopped, even for a second, everything would fall apart. But I don't hate myself anymore, because I realized that hating myself would mean hating the people who made me. And I can't do that. I love my parents more than anything. They are my rock, my soul, when everything feels like it's falling apart. And I'm so grateful for how steady they are, even when I'm not. If even a small part of who I am comes from them, then maybe I'm allowed to love that part of myself too. Because they're strong, loving, and resilient, and they've passed that down to me without even trying. And my brother reminds me I'm still here when everything feels too heavy. Just by being there, he makes me feel still real, still someone who's worth holding on to, in a way that feels like home. I'm still learning. I still feel that tightness when people stare. I still catch myself trying to be perfect, so no one has a reason to question me, like I'm bracing for something I can't name yet. But standing here, saying this out loud, is me refusing to keep carrying it alone. Because racism isn't always loud. Sometimes it's doubt. Sometimes it's disbelief. Sometimes it's the way it teaches a kid to look at themselves and think, why am I not enough? And slowly start believing it so deeply that they begin to hate what they see in the mirror. Like their own reflection becomes something unfamiliar, something they feel pressured to fix just to be accepted. And that question doesn't just hurt, it lingers, it follows you. It changes the way you see yourself even when no one is looking. I'm sharing this because I don't want to be a question anymore. I want to be seen as a person, fully, without hesitation, without doubt sitting behind it. And if you've ever felt like you had to disappear just to be accepted, I need you to hear this. You don't have to shrink to deserve space. You already do. I'm not perfect. I'm not invisible. I'm still learning how to love myself in a world that made that feel impossible. But I'm here, and this is what it really has felt like. Thank you.